Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York. My name is Karen Shaneman. My pronouns are she, her, and I am your worship associate for this morning's service, alongside our settled minister, Reverend Christin Green. That was an ad lib, I'm sorry. Today is our annual bread communication. Sorry, let me try that again. I'm all freaked out now. Today is our annual bread communion ritual service. Children and youth are invited to stay among us in the sanctuary throughout the service. For families with very young children who would like child care during worship, our nursery is staffed and available downstairs. All ages are always welcome to remain in the sanctuary, or there is a live feed of all audio and video of our service from our lobby. After our service this morning, Detective Derek Hartman of the York County District Attorney's Office will share a 45-minute presentation on how to stay safe in the event of an active shooter presence. While these topics are always uncomfortable, we are grateful for his willingness to be with us today to help understand how to stay safe together. Make sure to note other announcements listed on the back of our order of service. Scan the QR codes with your phone for more events, activities, updates, and information for newcomers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, we are glad your faith journey brought you here today. The mission of this congregation is to nurture a loving community, inspire lifelong spiritual and personal growth, and act for a better world. We welcome all of you joining us in person or online. If you are joining us for the first time, we invite you to visit our welcome desk to fill out a newcomer card or send an email to welcome@uucy.org so that we might get to know you. Let us now mark this time made sacred by our presence by taking a collective breath. Again, welcome to UUCY.
I will give us a moment of silence in a moment, but there's a lot of energy here today. We had some technical difficulties this morning. We have lots of moving pieces, lots of donated bread that's been made by folks, lots of excitement coming down from last night's wonderful event, lots of grief and sorrow on our hearts, fear and anxiety. We often try to take a moment before the service begins to center and ground together, and we didn't have the opportunity to do that today. So I just want to take another breath. Trusting that the words of our mouths, the lyrics that we sing, the meditations of our heart, the extension of a hand or a basket of bread to each other is holy, holy, holy. Let us ground and center in this time.
Our hands will work for peace and justice. Our hands will work to heal the land. Gather round the harvest table. Let us feast and bless the land. Our hands will work for peace and justice. Our hands will work to heal the land. Gather round the harvest table. Let us feast and bless the land. Our hands will work for peace and justice. Our hands will work to heal the land. Gather round the harvest table. Let us feast and bless the land. Our hands will work for peace and justice. Our hands will work to heal the land. Gather round the harvest table. Let us feast and bless the land.
Hope you were listening because there's going to be a test. Did you get that?
As our young friend Jasper Mattingly comes forward to light our chalice this morning in the sanctuary, a symbol of our living tradition, those joining us remotely are also invited to light a chalice of their own. This morning, our words are The Abundance of Our Lives Together by Katie Savani Gilfand. We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. Please rise in body or spirit to join in singing our opening hymn, 347, Gather the Spirit.
Witness the mystery of this
Would folks who feel young in body or in spirit like to join me on the rug for a special time by our bread communion altar space? Thank you, welcome. It's good to be here. Do you recognize any of the stuff up here on this altar? This special table? Hi, welcome. What do you see? You can just call it out. Bread, yes. An air fryer, yes. Toaster oven. Flour. Wheat. Some good stuff up there. An oven mitt, yes, to keep ourselves safe. Well, there are a lot of made things, and then there's also a lot of ingredients to kind of remind us that these well-made German sourdough slices are really just made up of a little bit of that flour and a little grind of some salt. And we don't really eat flour by itself. We don't eat salt by itself. It's not that good. Needs a little extra something. But what happens when they get combined is kind of like magic. And we have some science understanding to understand that when you mix the water, what happens? Do you know what happens?
I was going to say
You've done some experiments in the kitchen?
cranberry juice bottle.
On a cranberry juice bottle. That sounds exciting.
Stuff come out of it.
Yeah.
But I used food coloring.
Food coloring and well, when different things come together, they become some other things sometimes, right?
My dad made a slow motion.
Let's do another little experiment right now. How about that? We've got some flour. Well, you know what? We're not going to do that experiment. We're gonna just talk about it, and then we're going to do an experiment in the oven in a minute. So, if you've ever put water in flour, what happens? Sticky and messy and still not very tasty. And then what happens when you add salt? Delicious, instantly. Well, it does add flavor, and it also chemically strengthens the binder, and it makes the gluten come out of the bread, which I have an intolerance for. I'm allergic to it, but it's one of those things that happens in wheat flour that makes it hold together. And it also regulates the timing of the process of fermenting and changing form. So when the salt gets added to the water and the flour, it changes the mixture just a little bit. It slows it on down. Well, do you guys know about yeast? Yeast is really cool because it's like a live organism. And yeast, when you add it to like warm water and salt and a little bit of flour, do you know what it does? It starts to bubble and froth. And then when you mix it into the flour and make a dough and you let it sit, it gets a little bit bigger. The frothing and the bubbling makes everything expand. And so bread rises in that way because we've combined these different elements. Expand means get bigger. It just starts like this, and then you add some different ingredients, and it's bubbling up on the inside, so it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you have to let your bread rise sometimes to really make it really tasty. Because if you don't let it rise and you just put it in the oven because you're in a rush, sometimes it's very dense and not so good. The bigger it gets, the yummier it is. That's right. And I think it's also yummy when you add like cinnamon sugar, right? So for this experiment, I wonder if there's someone who might help me put what's under this tablecloth into the oven. I think we might need like 2 people, one to open the door, one to, thank you so much. What's your name? Anya. Welcome, Anya. I am trusting you with these. Come on, June. Yeah, you're both gonna help put this in that oven. So you flip the door down. It says it's preheated. Flip this door down. You have. This is your toaster oven from home. Good job. Okay. And then you're going to need to close the door again, Anya. Careful, it's hot. Beautiful. And now we're going to set some time. Let's see. Whoops. This is fun, trying to figure all this out. Okay, we're going to go with that. And when the timer goes off, we'll go from there. What do you expect to start smelling from this baking going on? What? Cinnamon and sugar. Yeah. Bread, yeah. Those yummy fresh cinnamon rolls are going to be coming soon. And you're going to taste them together. You're going to taste some bread. You're going to feel it. You're going to pass it to each other, right? This element of bread is in really every culture all over the world. And we may not be part of the harvesting of the bread or the grinding of the wheat or even the mixing or the baking, but all of us break bread and eat it together. And this food reminds us that we're better together, all mixed up, even if we get punched down and have to rise again. So let's show some gratitude in some way for those who planted the grain. Can we use our hands to in our bodies to show some gratitude? They planted the grain, and then those people harvest the crops. They cut all this wheat down, and they separated it. And the people that ground the grain, we're grateful for them too, using any part of our bodies that we want. The people that were in the kitchen, mixing everything, getting their hands dirty, getting their aprons dirty, pulling it out of the oven right in time for that good crust. And we're grateful for the sharing of bread here among us and the sharing of all the talents and gifts that resulted in this miracle. I promise that we will get to eat very, very soon. And maybe this batch will be ready pretty soon too. I want to sing that song again that we heard the choir sing, that harvest chant, and I think we can keep using our bodies.
You remember it? Let's just sort of get a nice body rhythm going. We're going to do it 4 times. By the 4th time, you'll be on board, right? Yeah. Ready? Here we go. Our
Hands will work for peace and justice. Our hands will work to light the land. Gather round the harvest table. Let us seize and bless the land. Our hands will work for peace and justice. Our hands will work to heal the land. Gather round the harvest table. Let us seize and bless the land. Our hands will work for peace and justice. Our hands will work to heal the land. Gather round the harvest table. Let us seize and bless the land. Our hands will work for peace and justice. Our hands will work to heal the land. Gather round the harvest table. Let us seize and bless the land. Ooh, thank you. And you're all invited to stay with us in the sanctuary this morning. This segment of our service is called Matters of the Heart, where we gather our spirits and center our hearts and minds and bodies in a moment of meditation together. This is a time to share the joys and sorrows, the small moments of happiness, and the deepening concerns that reside within our hearts. You may choose to submit something anytime during the week online, or you can fill out a slip of paper and place it on the pulpit or the candle table. I'll also check in on our folks tuning in on Zoom, as there is much, much on our hearts today. We begin with a candle of deep gratitude for all those auction volunteers from last night. From the technology to the performers and the auctioneers and donors, people in the kitchen, people setting up decorations, people who dressed up in costume, and people who bid on items, and people who just came to be together. That is what makes that event so wonderful each year, is that we choose to turn toward celebration, regardless what's going on, and celebrate life among us, even if we're holding heavy things. So thank you for doing that. We light a candle of appreciation for the many hands and hearts who offer their gifts of service. And as we learn their names and faces, may we extend our own gratitudes. To Connie for greeting us at the door, and Ellen for providing beautiful flowers, Joan and Dan for serving as ushers this morning, Connie for counting our collection, and a couple of folks in the kitchen brewing our coffee. Bless you, Joel and Anne, for keeping us online and live in the room, and Chris for his faithful coordination of so many volunteers. May all those whose labor remains unnamed feel held by our expansive gratitude and forgive us for our omissions. May we increase our awareness of all the invisible ways we share in this sacred work. We light one final candle this morning for all that remains unspoken within your heart. It may feel too large or too small to share. You may not be ready to hear it read aloud, but please know that our community holds these with you in silence, even if the words never come. We honor all that we carry with us and know that the flame of our faith kindled here resides within us also at all times. So may it ever be. And amen. Let us join together in singing Spirit of Life. First in Spanish. We have the lyrics printed in your order of service. And if you need the music or the English, it's number 123 in the gray hymnal. We'll begin with Fuente de Amor.
Reading called At the Threshold by Gunilla Norris. Stand at the kitchen door with me. Honor the heart of transformation. Honor your own heart, where everything is always changing. It is the very same dwelling. Pause at the door. Your heart needs this. My heart needs this time for recognition, or it will go astray. It will forget to reach for its real joy, its true becoming. Pause at the door. This is good and necessary. For this room is every room. The world lives here. Pausing each day helps us to know nothing is outside of us. Honor the heart that can feel the joy and the terror of the world in you and in me. Only what is truly human can walk this path, walk through, and be constant. Bow to that heart. Hold my hand. I need you for courage. We become who we are together, each needing the other. Alone is a myth. The path leads through this door. I cannot go to the kitchen without you. Let us enter together.
Breaking and sharing of bread is one of the most ancient practices known to humankind. Before there was religion, there was communion. We know how transformative bread making can be, and we know how transformative sharing can be. It's no wonder that religious communities around the world practice bread communion in remembrance, hoping that they might also be transformed by the ritual act of receiving a holy sacrament of bread. Sacrament meaning a visible sign of invisible grace. A visible sign of invisible grace. I'm seeing these slightly browned cinnamon rolls and knowing that the invisible grace of that cinnamon sugar and likely butter on the inside is there. Today, we engage with the ritual of bread communion as Unitarian Universalists. We embrace the many sources from which our faith tradition was born as we receive the bread of our community. The ushers are here with some helpers, Jasper and Noah. And some of this bread is handmade by Gabby Parks and Nancy Haggerty. Did anyone else not label but hand make some bread that was brought? I know Liz Gurney brought some bread. We're going to continue bread communion out in coffee hour. Who we have? Eric Zeltman. Thank you. And Dana hand-picked a gluten-free challah from the store that we have some. The gluten-free is in the white basket. So if that is something that you need or want, that is the basket that you're going to go for. I just want to take a moment in gratitude for all the hands and all the labor and all the intention that was put into these creations that will not just nourish our bodies, but also remind us of something. And if you can, hold the bread until we've all been served before you eat it. It's okay. It's okay. We don't follow the rules as Unitarian Universalists. We don't always bless the meal before we start. We bless it all along the way. So if you can, hold your little parchment cup of bread until we're able to taste it together. Okay? Let us begin. Congregation first, choir last. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Those of you who still have your bread, well done. Sometimes there is a period of waiting when we do ritual. And those of you who snuck a bite or couldn't help yourself, well done. Ritual has a way of finding you where you are, and meaning making is always possible. Bread is the oldest prayer we know. A simple thing, grain, water, time, and heat. Yet it holds the story of all who have planted and harvested and ground and kneaded and baked. It holds the story of the earth steady beneath our feet, giving herself without fanfare. May we receive this bread with gratitude for the hands that prepared it, for the sun and soil that formed it, for the community gathered here in trust, in hope, and in hunger. Many types of hunger. As we break it, may something in us break open too, the hard shells of hurry, distraction, and isolation. May we remember how dough, once folded and pressed, rises again, not by striving, but by an inner warmth, quietly doing its work. So may we too rise after our pressings and our weariness, lifted by the warmth of community, by small kindness, by the slow miracle of renewal. Let us take and eat with gratitude for this moment, for this community, for this day that has never been before. May the simple act of sharing remind us that we belong to each other, that nourishment comes in many forms, and that life is sustained by generosity and noticing the sacred woven among the ordinary. Blessed be, and amen. As we continue to crackle and wrinkle our papers holding some yummy bread, I will offer a poem called Yeast by the same author as the reading, Gunilla Norris. She writes a book called Becoming Bread, Finding the Spiritual in the Everyday. When the yeast is added, we see in the honey water the unpredictable, the alive, which we can never own or truly understand. We will see how it bubbles and froths, how it rises up, and we will know that we do not have control. When the yeast is added, the sweet and the salty, the skin temperature, warm-blooded water, we will sense the irrepressible and how it moves into the very cells of our bodies, into the blood and the marrow. We are flesh and we are vulnerable. When the yeast is added, the impulsive, the unimaginable, the free, we know we will be moved. Every part of the mixture, the inert lump of dough, will come alive, will expand and yield, will be lifted out of ourselves, beyond ourselves. We will be worked. I love that last line. We often turn to the poets and songwriters when we don't quite have the words to either talk about or even understand our place in the world. Poets and artists use those metaphors and symbols to help represent the big, big concepts in life and make sense of them. Thinking about bread as a metaphor gives us some distance from the heat and the mess. We can see how things we fear as humans are really morally neutral in nature and in bread. For bread, getting sticky and messy is expected and a sign of well-made dough. For bread, high heat and long waiting periods are ideal for the perfect inside and outside. For bread, getting punched down and flipped on their head and rolled out flat makes for the lightest, airiest result. If our human experience can somehow be told in the story of bread, we have an opportunity to taste and see the story as it plays out all the way to the end and over again. What if our own personal mess signals that we are actually well on our way to a well-worked outcome? What if things heating up in a meeting is not a bad thing? What if that feeling of slow time is us moving at the speed of trust, the speed of growth, speed of healing? While our adversities should never be glorified as never more than we can handle, what if that thing that feels like too much ends up breaking open a brand new life for us? Breaking bonds that were meant to be broken so expansiveness could move in and take up space. I'll close with a story from one of my favorite movies. It's the movie called Smoke Signals from 1998. Chris Iyer, an indigenous American of Cheyenne and Arapaho heritage, directs this really beautiful story of more than coming of age. It's really coming to terms with adulthood and fathers and stories that we tell, stories that we don't get to hear. And there's a scene in the movie where the two young indigenous men, Victor and Thomas, of the Coeur d'Alene Indian Reservation in Idaho, are about to break some fry bread together with their new friend Susie on their journey. And some of the members of our land acknowledgement team that are working to build a statement about how we acknowledge the land that we're on, that it is stolen, unceded land. Some of those folks went to a powwow a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, and tried some fry bread of their own. It is quite delicious. So the two men are gathered with their new friend, and Thomas is definitely the storyteller of the two. And he shares a story about Victor's mom, who makes the best fry bread in the world. He says, really, it's so good, they use it for communion back home. So he starts telling of this feast, and they don't have a lot of food, but they've got 100 people gathered in one space. They've got a little bit of deer meat and a huge vat of mashed potatoes and some Coca-Colas, and they're just waiting on their fry bread because the fry bread makes all the difference in the world. It says, you see, a good piece of fry bread turns any meal into a feast. So everybody's gathered at these tables waiting for the cooks to come out with the fry bread, and they've waiting. And unfortunately, they only have about 50 pieces of fry bread. So they're trying to figure out what they're going to do at the last minute, and Arlene, Victor's mom, knows what to do. Thomas says, "You see, Arlene's fry bread was magic. Arlene was magic." And she took a free piece of fry bread and she stood in front of the community and she raised it over her head and she ripped it in half. And now 100 people had their own piece of fry bread. Magic, miracles, or just rising to the occasion to share what is already here, to make enough. Rising up in generosity from a mindset of abundance, knowing that we have everything we need, even more when we share it. In our rising, we expand, we get bigger, we get more abundant, so we might share more than we could ever imagine. And in that sharing, in that breaking of the bread that was too little, we find that in breaking that open, we are nourished in the sharing, and everyone has what they need. The message today is not just in the homily, it's in the passing of the baskets, and it's in the gathering on the rug, it's in the coffee hour, in the learning, in the connections that go on and on after this moment. We will sing in a moment for all that is our life. Let us give thanks and praise for what we have, and may it be enough. Blessed be. May it be so. And amen. Let's rise like bread in body or in spirit to join in singing 128 for all that is our life.
We now invite you into a spirit of generosity as we collect our weekly offering. Each month we commit to share our offering collection with a community organization that upholds our values. Our Share the Plate partner for November is the Rainbow Rose Center, whose mission is to foster an environment of inclusion, equity, and health, where all LGBTQIA+ community members thrive in York and Adams counties. They do this through resource coordination, peer-to-peer support groups, social groups, events, and advocacy. Our ushers will now come forward to collect the offering. If this is your first time visiting with us, please feel free to let the basket pass you by. Your presence is a gift.
Cleared off the table, leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I've told you a story, tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sail to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company.
Or you can be anybody you want to be. You can love whoever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know that I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're gone.
Let us join hands and hearts in gratitude on this wondrous day where we have the abundance of our lives before us. We remember on this day of bounty all those who do not have enough, who are afraid, who are lonely, who suffer. We wish for the abundance of this world to be shared, for fear to become love, for the lonely to feel welcomed, and for the suffering to know rest and joy. For the labor, the love, the care that gave us the delights of this and every day, we say thanks. For the nourishment of our spirit, the challenges that strengthen us, and the friends we have on the journey, we sing thanks. And for all that is our lives, for these good gifts, we whisper thanks. Overflowing with gratitude, let us shout thanks.
You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know that I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're gone. Will be the love you leave behind when you're gone. Will be the love you leave behind when you're gone.
Please join us in extinguishing our chalice and your home chalices, if you have lit them, with these words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Friends, may the things that make you feel alive be your leavening agent. May your passions show proof of your life as they help you grow and expand and yield. May you become the most unique miracle that you need. And may you always remember to rise. May it be so, and amen. We give thanks with a hearty help from our choir and Gretchen and our guest musician today. Greg, thank you so much for playing guitar. Let's sing.
You can join. It's number 1010. Let's do it together.